folks, this is ET Prepper. Today I'm looking at the outlook for the market is deteriorating fast. I'm going to read an article. It's found in Peak Prosperity. The article is dated Friday, August 31st by Chris Martinson. Here's the executive summary. The evidence that the dominant social narrative is breaking down. The emerging market spark may ignite a broad market conflagration. In other words, the first domino to start falling. Financial market complacency is completely unprepared for such a risk. An escalating risk of conflict in the Middle East threatens to make the situation a whole lot worse. All right, let's read this. An emerging nightmare. If you haven't subscribed to me, subscribe, and also please share this. This is important information that needs to get out there to other people. About the kindest thing I can say about the reckless trillions, this central bank, the banking cartel, flooding into the world is they gave us more time to get our preparations in order. Folks, I hope you're prepared. One of the reasons why I'm showing you this is to get off your fannies and get going. Get stuff, get rice, get beans, get water, get a source for water. You need some, if you haven't started, start. And contact me. I'd love to talk to you. I've also got some videos. I'll link kind of a basic video about preparedness, the 60-day challenge. Anyway, let me go back to this. I certainly hope, here we go, you used that time wisely. If you didn't know about it, hey, okay, now you do. Now you use your time wisely. I don't think there's much time at all. So what happens when every financial market around the globe has been dangerously inflated by massive money printing? Those enormous flows that were virtuous on the way out will be vicious on the way back in. And don't forget, as a combined group, the big central banks are still expanding their balance sheets today. Yet despite that, the weaker players on the board are beginning to flounder severely. Here's Venezuela for you. Oops, I guess I can't highlight it. 99.99% change versus the dollar. Global currency returns versus the dollar. The Sudanese pound, the Argentine peso, the Turkish lira, and beyond.
The trigger's already been pulled, and that's the emerging markets.
Many triggers.
And you think if you both think, and Bill, let's start with you here because let me finish your thought here. You think if they raise rates, you think they could crash the market, boom, right then and there, a quarter point. I mean, that's how tenuous all this is that, I mean, you think about this, we're talking about a quarter of a point on
No,
the Fed funds rate.
It's already started, Greg. They don't have to tighten it.
So they'll exacerbate it.
No, what I'm saying is, let's say they don't raise rates. The implosion has already started. The contagion has already started in these emerging markets. I mean, their currencies are blowing up left and right. You're talking about 20% interest rates. Argentina is what, 45% interest rates. Brazil. These countries are imploding. It doesn't matter whether if the Fed were to raise again, I mean, that just obviously exacerbates it, but it's already started.
These countries are all in dire straits. Let me read further. Every single country, let's see here. Every single country on that list is a proud holder of U.S. denominated debt and is now facing serious difficulties. Worse, the situation compounds itself as all the debt holders have to sell their local currency in increasing amounts to buy the dollars which they will pay off these debts. So in other words, the Indian rupee is worth 10% less. So they need 10% more money to pay off the debt in American dollars. That's the problem. And it's a problem that accelerates itself. All right, let's keep going. The more they sell, the weaker their local currency gets. The weaker it gets, the more they have to sell. It's this dynamic that then bleeds over into their local stock markets. Companies being crushed by external dollar-denominated debts see their interest costs spike higher and higher. Very rapidly, this crushes their income stream, so their stocks fall in price. The contagion is spreading quite rapidly, too. It's well beyond a single story that we can confine to the particulars of Turkey or Argentina. It now involves India, for heaven's sake.
But I don't think anybody's going to be immune. This is global.
Yeah, agreed. And do you think that what's happening with these emerging markets is like a canary in a coal mine in a sense to what's really happening? Is the world going to be Venezuela? And also the other question I think is the Federal Reserve expendable? Will they throw that under the bus or what do you think will happen?
Well, yes, I do think that the emerging markets, the crisis that's happening, is the canary in the coal mine, but it also might be the domino that then goes on for a global impact. The difference between when we were having the emerging market crisis as we were shifting the pegs back in the 90s and today is how much more leveraged and how much more interconnected we are. So I can't say that it didn't matter then, because it did. I mean, people don't realize, but through long-term capital management, that almost brought the global financial system to its knees at that time. It was just wallpapered over with lots and lots of money from taxpayers and Wall Street. So this time, I don't think that they have the ability to do it because they've used it, they've used up all of those options. So just like they had to create new experimental tools in 2008 when the system actually died. They're going to have to come up, if they need to keep this going longer, then there'll be more experimental tools that won't work, just like the other ones. I think what we're going to see on a global basis is that the central banks are probably not quite as independent as they might want us to think that they are. There were changes that happened in the governance back in 2008. And so I think there will be changes moving forward. But remember, what the central banks are trying to engineer is a soft transfer. Whether or not they even really want to pull that off, that for me is questionable. But their role is to engineer this shift from the current debt-based system into the digital system, and their goal is to remain in control after they make that shift.
Yeah, I think that is right. That is what they want. They want to remain in control, and they don't want you and I and us average people to be better off under the system. In fact, they want more control than what they have now. And so, that, as I see us moving towards a one world government, new world order, and all of that, that's the goal.
I don't personally believe China is going to be the trigger, but they will be swept up. The trigger's already been pulled, and that's the emerging markets.
Many triggers.
And you think if you both think, and Bill, let's start with you here because let me finish your thought here. You think if they raise rates, you think they could crash the market, boom, right then and there, a quarter point. I mean, that's how tenuous all this is that, I mean, you think about this, we're talking about a quarter of a point on the Fed funds rate.
It's already started, Greg. They don't have to tighten it.
So they'll exacerbate it.
No, what I'm saying is, let's say they don't raise rates. The implosion has already started. The contagion has already started in these emerging markets. I mean, their currencies are blowing up left and right. You're talking about 20% interest rates. Argentina is what, 45% interest rates. Brazil. These countries are imploding. It doesn't matter whether if the Fed were to raise again, I mean, that just obviously exacerbates it, but it's already started. And the contagion's going to spread. China's going to get swept up in it. The EU's going to get swept up in it. And when all is said and done, it's going to land in the Fed's lap. And they have only one tool, and that is, and Jim coined the phrase, QE to infinity.
So you think this is going to end up in a money printing bonanza?
Yes.
a cartoon of money printing.
For a time being.
That's the next step. When the wheels, well, I'm trying to put words in your mouth. I'm just trying to make sure. So when everybody fully realizes, right now everybody thinks we're doing great. We're at 25,000 Dow. We're doing great. This is the best economy ever, according to the president, and I like him. But everybody thinks that this is going great right now, and you guys are already knowing that it's not great. But you think when everybody realizes, oh my gosh, do something, you think they're going to print money like crazy? Bill, I'll start with you.
Yeah, they will have to. Let's assume that they do continue to tighten, or tighten one more time or whatever, and the credit implosion spreads, and the Fed does not meet that with increased printing and lowered rates. Now you're talking about real bankruptcy. You're talking about letting the system cleanse itself. And Jim, you've said this before, in order to create a new system, you got to destroy the old system.
Folks, I hope you understand the information you just got from these 3 different clips. Basically, what is happening is it's happening. It's started. The massive economic collapse, I believe, has started. So what are you going to do? Time to get ready. Before the stores get raided. Some people say it's going to be on our shores September 10th. That would be this Monday. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. But all the indicators are just screaming right now that stuff is right around the corner. And I would like to do one more thing, and I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to read a little bit of Revelation 18, chapter 18 in the Bible. For all the nations have drunk of the wine of the passion of her immorality, and the kings of earth have committed acts of immorality with her, and the merchants of the earth have become rich by the wealth of her sensuality. Have you ever heard the term that country or that politician is in bed with that company or so forth? Well, think about it. Okay. Verse 10, chapter 18. Standing at a distance because of the fear of her torment, saying, Woe, woe, the great city of Babylon, the strong city! For in 1 hour your judgment has come. And the merchants of the earth weep and mourn over her because no one buys their cargoes anymore. Folks, some people say the city of Babylon might be New York. I believe it's the whole economic system of the world or the United States of America. Either way, it's gone in an hour. Okay? In other words, it's going to happen very fast. So the trick is, be ready.
Loading up and trucking. Are we going to do what they say can't be done? We've got airlines.